So I think that it's a great idea to hire a plumber for this if you could find one that's willing to install it. I did contact quite a few plumbers at first in the area, and nobody seems to want to do anything with this. And it's funny because it's really just a matter of running the pipes. That's like the biggest thing, but I guess for whatever reason they just don't. So with that said, I am going to be installing this myself. Anyway, I'm going to be using a type B PEX, and this is a 1-inch PEX for the run that I'm going to do around the filter, and then I'm going to be using a 3/4 up by my hot water heater where the water comes into the house. At first I was going to do a type A PEX because a type A PEX is known for being much more flexible. With a type A PEX, if it bends too much, you could take like a heat gun to it and it'll kind of pop back out, whereas this won't. I'm not going to be taking the PEX and bending it, or at least nothing major. It'll be very, very slight. I'm just going to kind of make straight, I guess, runs with it. So the reason why I'm not using the type A as well is because I saw that some of the plumbers indicated online that potentially the chlorine or whatever else is in the water can start to like rot the inside of the pipe. And I saw some whatever it was, videos or whatever, where they showed that the the PEX was corroding. So again, that's another reason why I'm using type B. Type B is also pretty much all over Lowe's. Now as for the fittings, I'm using Sharkbite. So all of the crimps and the elbows and the T's and all that stuff are all Sharkbite. This is the brand again. That's pretty much all they sell in Lowe's, but it's not the Sharkbite that actually clamps onto the pipe that you just push on. This type of Sharkbite you have to use crimps, but I just want to first show you that like some of the parts come with spacers, so you can't put the ring on too close to the end. So you pretty much want to have like, I believe it's like about 1/8 of an inch, so you could see this little hook thing that's on it. Now take a look at that little like hook that's going over the pipe. So that's to stop the ring. So when you grab your ring and grab one, and you put your ring on the, I'm doing good, and you put your ring on the pipe. So you can see the ring is on the pipe, and it can only go so high, because the thing is that you don't want to put it too close to the end of the pipe. So it's nice that it has it, especially for people that are new to it and don't realize it. Otherwise, I noticed that you're probably not going to want to do anything less than potentially like one of the rings that's on something like this. You can see the various lines. So again, that's a good indication. On here too, you could see it has that same type of spacing. These are all made for PEX. Hopefully you could see that, because I can't on the camera's viewer. Alright, so the fittings that are on the floor that you're looking at, this is pretty much how everything's going to be lined up. Now in between each of these fittings is going to be some PEX pipe, okay, all around. This over here is called a male adapter, and that's what the package looks like. So again, I picked these up in Lowe's, and this seems to be all they sell is Sharkbite. So these two, and I'm going to have to put some of the Teflon tape around the threads on this. You always want to use Teflon tape, even if you're like putting on a shower head or anything that has to do with threading and plumbing. So this is going to go into the side of the filter, and it's going to screw in on the side. Okay, so this one's going to be on the right side, this one's going to be on the left side. So then I'm going to have a shut-off valve. There's going to be a little bit of pipe, shut-off valve, some more pipe, T-valve. Now the T-valve there's going to be a piece of pipe that's going to go up this way, okay? And then we're going to go to this elbow, which is going to go to this shut-off valve, and then it's going to go, then there's going to be some pipe going to this elbow, and then down here, okay? So what this is a bypass. So just in case if the filter leaks in the future, or if something else happens and, you know, I need to shut off the filter, but that way I could still get water in the house. That's what this is going to do. So, you know, it's not something that you have to install when you install one of these, but you really should, because it's only going to, you know, take a few more minutes. I mean, what could this take? Another 15-20 minutes maybe, or 30 minutes for this little bit of pipe, depending on, you know, how fast you work. So then over here to the right, this elbow over here next to this T, this is going to go up a bit to this elbow, which is going to go all the way back to the water that's going into the house. Now if we come over here on the left, again we have the thing called the male adapter, which is going to connect to a valve, which is going to connect to a T, and then it's going to connect to an elbow over here. Well, this T is going to go up here to the bypass, which is going to go back around this way. I'm moving them a little bit, so it's going to go around this way, and then this elbow is going to go to this elbow eventually, which is going to head back to, or should I say, that's where the water is going to be headed back to where it has to head into the house. So this is where the water is going to come in. This is going to be the clean water is going to come in from here, and the clean water is going to come in here. It's going to come down. It's going to go this way, because this filter is the sediment filter, and this is stage 1. So it's going to go into this elbow, and because this valve is going to be turned off, the water can only go to here and stop. So the water then is going to flow into the filter. It's going to go this way, and then eventually it's going to come all the way out, because again, whenever water goes up this way, is going to be stopped by the valve. That's going to be turned off, and you can see when a valve is open, you know, it's this way, and then when it's off, get a grip on it, there we go. Okay, and when it's off, you could see, I think, that it's off. So that's what off is going to look like on these valves. So off's going to be up, and then when it's open, it's going to be like that. Okay, so the next step is going to be starting to cut the pipe and starting to crimp. So I put the Teflon tape on the pipe, and I'm just going to thread it in. So the threads that are on the filter cap are plastic, so just keep that in mind. You don't want to force it. As soon as it feels like it's snug enough, you definitely want to stop, and I can see that it still has some room to turn. Yeah, it should be right about there, should be it. I think that's snug. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it's flush with the plastic housing. So now to do the other side. So as I've been sitting here looking at this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an elbow right here, one of these black elbows, put this here, and then run this up, and then this is going to be here instead of it being on the sides where I thought it was going to be like laying this way. Instead it's going to go this way, and then the shut-off valve will be across. So I'm going to give that a try, because I don't really want this to take up like a whole ton of space, because I'm looking at how much is here, and then if I put some pipe with the clamps in between each, it's going to start to push out, and I don't really want to move this shelf that's sitting right here. I'm trying to be pretty space efficient about things. So that's what I'm going to try to do. What I'm going to do is take the pipe, cut the pipe, put the fittings on, but I'm not going to clamp anything down. So I'm just going to kind of put everything together, put it around, see if I like how it fits and sits and all that, and then if I like it, then I'll put the crimps on. So I cut this pipe right about, let's see, because the elbow's going to go like right here. So I figure I'll cut it right about there. Good cut. So this elbow will go right in there. Of course, let me actually just make it at least look right. So there'll be a ring, a crimp ring that'll go on here. So this will go in, and then the crimp ring's going to come down like so. Now the next piece to install is going to be the valve. So another piece of pipe, and then the valve. We don't want the valve. So if the valve goes here, I'll put this valve here. Then the next is going to be the T, which is going to go up here. That should be okay. Maybe right like this. I'm kind of using this to kind of just space it, and cutting a larger piece of pipe with the cutters. Just using this to kind of estimate it, and then lining it up. pipe a little curved? Some of these pipes look pretty bent in the store. Let's see if it'll go in this piece. It'll go in this piece, but it won't go in this one, or at least on this side it won't go in. I think it's a little bent. Yeah, it's funny. It just won't. it just won't fit in that one part. So maybe I'll use this because that goes in nicely. So okay, so the pipe is all cut. And this is the loose version. It's not crimped yet. I just kind of wanted to picture it. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Got the shut-off valve on each side, and I'll probably flip one of these valves so they're both kind of facing the same way. I think that'll just look better. And here's the bypass going this way, so that'll bring the water back to the house, because the water is going to come from the house. It's going to go in on this side, and then if this is closed and this is open, it's going to go into the filter and around back and up towards the house. So that's going to go into the house, which is going to be split between the hot water heater and the house. But it's going to be split up there at the hot water heater. So I'm gonna get to crimping this, and I'm gonna flip that valve and put the crimp connectors on and get started with that. And this is a crimp checker tool. You put it on to make sure that it's on. If it's rubbing or sticking, then it's not crimped down right. So that looks good. Just a cautious person in me, I give it another one. It's crimped. All right, the first one is on. I'm gonna put one here. Remember, this has the stopper on it, so that's good. It's got that little stopper thing. Check it again. Or should I say check this one for the first time? All right. This one needs a crimp ring. I should probably pull this in. Might have been recording my back. It's getting hot in this garage. I'm thankful that I put up that radiant barrier on it, because otherwise right now it'd be so hot in here. Yeah. It's nice that it's got that again, because that way it can't fall down like in here. Let's check it. Because if it's ever rubbing, I tried it once where it didn't really crimp well, and basically I couldn't really get it in there. I'll grab a ring. So you see the ring. Am I on camera? Yeah. So you see it can't even go in. Can't even go in there without it being crimped. So, you know, that's good. Alright, now let's put one here, but I'm going to flip the handle. See, this one might be a little bit more challenging because it's going to fall down, so we'll see. Maybe I'll put a little piece of tape on it to hold it. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I got a little piece of tape. So this side is all crimped up and it's good to go. I have to crimp this. I just put a piece of tape on top of it. I've been putting a piece of tape on top of it to kind of keep them from moving. I find it to be a lot easier, because I tend to tap it, especially when it's like the other way, and then they move. And I mean the other way, like if it's like here, and then it starts falling down, or this way, and it starts falling down. So that definitely helps. So far so good. It wasn't so far. So at this point everything is all crimped. I did have a few issues on the sides trying to crimp because of this frame of this. It's a little bit more difficult, so you know, you kind of have to come underneath with the crimper like this, and it makes it kind of awkward. Maybe, you know, maybe using another method to actually connect to this. I've seen in places where things are used like some kind of flex hose, like those metal flex hose. I don't particularly trust them because I've had them leak in the past, but maybe there's a way to kind of put something on the end here where it'll extend out a bit, you know, just a little bit, so you get it in there to crimp. But I was able to do it, so it's not impossible. The other thing that I want to point out, which you know, it's going to save you a hell of a lot of time, is, you know, definitely purchase the Sharkbite brand, which they sell it at Lowe's like this. Probably the biggest issue was taking off the crimps when they don't crimp right the first time. Okay, some of the crimps that I've received as well were like already bent, which was kind of strange. Maybe something happened during transit or shipping, or I don't know what could have happened, but the ring was like an oval instead of like a circle, round. But what I did notice was, because I purchased this like all-in-one kit on Amazon that people really seem to like, and it came with these crimp cutters, okay, crimp removal tool. The problem with it is that it's too small. So it made taking these off a nightmare, any one that I had to cut. Whereas the one from Sharkbite, which I knew I had but I couldn't find it, and I found it, the mouth is much larger. So you can see the difference. Okay? And I'll show you on a pipe. So this is a pipe I was trying to cut, and and I was barely... So this is a pipe I was trying to cut, and I was barely able to get through, because with this one, for example, alright, so there's a little bit of pipe, plastic pipe that I could still cut off, but you know, you're going to get the idea. You know, I took it and I put it in here, and it barely gets to the end. Take this and put it in, and it goes all the way down. You know, you could see the difference with this one. Here's another example. Using the fitting, you know, you put it in here, and you can see that it goes right to the top, so that'll get your ring no matter what. And when I use this one, I put it in, it doesn't. So if you close it, there's still some space, so it's too small. So the moral of the story is, you know, even if you're going to purchase maybe a crimper from a different brand, I would suggest, you know, purchasing these Sharkbites. I don't know how well these are made, or any of them are made, or how well they're going to hold up. So this isn't it's not a recommendation to purchase it, but make sure that you have a crimp ring cutter that is, I guess, deep enough or whatever, so it could really cut that crimp ring. That's pretty important. Okay, now that I talked about that, the next thing, I'm going to be running 2 pipes up because I have to connect to the hot water heater. Not just yet, but after I get the pipe up there. So I'm going to get to that